this send reset password line of functioning. We're going to start at the controller just because we're already here, but then we'll go ahead and move on to the service, and then we'll move on to the mail service. All right, cool, let's do it. So we are going to be testing send reset password email, and it should send a password reset email to a user, and that is we're going to do async arrow function to test. All right, so let's go ahead and look at what the body of the email looks like, and it's just going to be an email address. So we're going to say const email is going to be equal to, let's just say calliestoscup@gmail.com. Perfect. All right, now let's look at what is happening when we call this service function and we pass in, I think this is actually going to be, let's do const body is equal to, and then it's an object with an email property. All right, nope. Okay, so then we are sending the password reset email in the service. So we're finding the user. So we'll have to test this, but we'll test this when we're testing the service. But right now we're just trying to figure out what it's returning. To understand though, we're getting the user. If the user doesn't exist, then we're throwing a bad request exception. Otherwise, we're creating an access token and then passing the user an token to the mail service password reset email. And then it's not returning anything, okay? So what we can do then is we can just mock it undefined, okay? So we're gonna say we're gonna say service.send reset password email.mock resolved value, and we're just gonna say undefined because we're not returning anything. So then now we can actually call the controller function, and we're going to say const result is equal to await controller dot send reset password email, and then we're going to put in the body, and we expect that the result is going to be undefined. I've never used that one before, but let's give it a try and see how we do. And we passed. All right, more importantly, we expect that the service send password reset email has been called, and we expect that the service send reset password email to have been called with the body dot email, because that's really what we're testing. We're making sure that the data is passing through right and we're calling the right function. Okay, perfect. So that concludes then our controller spec testing. Woohoo, go us. So I'm going to get out of the controller here, and I'm going to get out of the controller spec, and we will go to the auth service spec. So I'm going to take some time to first comment back in my mail service mocking and my mail service here and save that. And then I'm going to minimize all of my tests other than the one that I need to make, which I don't think I made a mock for, so I'll have to just make it at the end. This is a good case of I wasn't sure how to test the mail service when I first started, and I think it was just because I didn't understand unit tests enough that I was like, oh, how do I test the mail service? But now through all this, I'm seeing like, well, we're not actually testing that node mailer works, right? So this actually isn't that complicated. But the fact that I waited to the end, now I have now I just know that I feel more confident because I wrote so many unit tests that I feel like I can do it. So I feel like it was a good idea to take a break from trying to figure it out when I didn't think I was going to know how to do it. Does that make sense? So if you get stuck on something, just move on to something that you can do. And then when you reapproach it, you might find that it's actually a lot easier than what you thought. So many. All right. So now we're going to make our service test for send reset password email, and it should find the user and send the user a password reset email. So we have two test cases here. We have if user is null, we'll throw the bad exception. So we're going to start with this use case where we actually create the token and so on. Okay. Okay. So first thing, input. Sorry. Our input is going to be an email, and we'll say Callie stoscup@gmail.com. Then the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to get a user back. So we're going to say const user is going to be equal to, and we'll say as user, and then we'll have ID 15, name Callie Stoscup, email, just have it be email. Then we're going to have username C Stoscup, and password we're going to have fake password. All right. So that's what's going to come back here. User won't be null, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to have a token. So we need to have const token, and then it's going to just be fake token. All right. And then we are going to be sending the password reset email and returning it, and it's just going to be undefined. So we're not going to worry about that. Okay. So now let's do our mocking. Okay. So we want to first mock this call. So we're going to say users service, nope, not user story service, user service dot find user by email dot mock resolved value, and we're going to do mock the resolved value user. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do service, well, we're not doing mocking the service. We're actually calling the create access token. So let's figure out what we're doing in here. All right, so we're going to say JWT service dot sign async dot mock resolved value, and the value that will come out. What comes out of that? Oh, the token, duh. So fake, so token. All right, and then we are going to scroll back down. Where is it? All right, here. So then that is going to take care of the getting this token here, and then the next thing is going to be mail service dot send password reset email, and then we're going to mock the resolved value, and it's going to just be undefined. Okay, so now we can actually call the function. So const result is going to be equal to await service dot send reset password email. We'll put in the email, and then we expect that our result is going to be undefined. And let's go ahead and run the test. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to add and return nothing here. All right, so then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to say expect that users service dot find user by email to have been called, and we expect users service dot find user by email to have been called with, and then let's take a look, email. We then expect JWT service dot sign async to have been called, and we expect JWT service dot sign async to have been called with, and then let's take a look. So when we create the access token, we're using the optional secret, so that will be payload, which is going to be sub 15, and then another object, which is going to have secret is going to be equal to fake password, and then expires in is going to be equal to 10 minutes. And let's try that. Woohoo! Wow, I'm pretty impressed that that passed on the first one. Okay, and then we also expect that mail service dot send password reset email to have been called, and we expect mail service dot send password email to have been called with, and then let's take a look, and it's going to be called with the user and the token. Let's run it and see how we did. Perfect. All right, so that will be our testing of the use case where we find the user. So now let's copy this, and we will do the use case where we should throw an error. Throw a bad request exception when user is not found. All right, so let's do fake email at gmail.com. So user is going to be null, and there will be no token then. We won't call the JWT service or the mail service then, and we will not have as results, but we will try to get it. So let's do our try block, try, and then let's bring this into it, and then we will add our catch block, and we expect the error to equal this. All right, we also expect that the user service is going to be called, the find the user by email is going to be called, and we expect it to be called with the email, but none of these we expect to happen. All right, let's go ahead and run the test and see how we did. And we passed. Woo, woo. So that then concludes our auth service spec. All right, we can move on to our mail service here. Well, we're not gonna, we can move on to testing our mail service. All right, so we're gonna close out of some of these extra ones. So we just need to test this here. And pretty much we just need to test is it calling this function. All right, so what I need to do then is I need to copy, so I'm gonna copy this user service spec, and I'm gonna throw it in my mail folder. And I'm going to rename it mail.service.spec.ts. Then I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm going to close out my auth service. All right, so user service, we're not testing. We don't need the user identity. Then I'm going to minimize all of these so I can delete all of these. All right, and then let's go ahead and make our edits. So this is for mail service. All right, so user service is defined there, and there, and this should be mail service. All right, so then let's import mail service. Okay, and then we want to get the repository token instead from so-called mail. Oh, we don't have any. That makes it easier. There's no repository. So we don't need to mock a repository. That's even more exciting. All right, so now what I'm going to do is instead of calling the source auth controller, we are going to call the source.mail test. And let's go ahead and see if we pass. And we do. It is defined. Okay, so now we can close out of this. Now we just want to test this function. Works as expected. So it's going to be send password reset email and should send a reset email to the past in user. All right, async. So we first do our input, so const user, and then is going to be equal to an ID 15. Name, I'm actually going to go steal it because I'm tired of typing. All right, I'm going to put it here. So we have our name and our token. All right, let's import our user entity. All right, so we have our name and our token. Those are going to be our inputs. So then what we need to do is we need to mock this send mail function. So let's go look at it, which is here. Not sure if we can well, so that, yeah, I guess this is the part that is confusing me because we want to mock this. So I need to do then, all right, just mock function from another file is what I'm Googling. Let's go ahead and pull this up. All right, so let's pull this over. Let's make it a little smaller. And let's see if we are going to be able to figure this out. I bet we are. All right, so let's do just.mock send mail. And then we are going to do just.fn. Right, I'm going to rerun the test to see if this change triggered anything. It does not like send mail from mail.service.spec.ts. Okay, because we're not doing the right thing. So it should be in the same folder and then slash mail.ts. Interesting. All right, so let's try this one. Import all as, so import send mail from mail. And then we would say, let's first try I'm gonna try that. I don't feel great about it. because it's not in the, okay. As, I'm wondering if I need to instead just do the spy on in it. So let's go ahead and give this a try. So I'm gonna go look at where we did another spy on because it's been a little bit of a while. Right. So then we can do just.spy on. Okay, and then it's gonna be send mail. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Okay. Dot mock resolved value undefined. Does not like this. All right, so let's try this the way that they have it written. So import all as helper from mail. So then we're gonna do helper. All right, well, that's looking better. Woohoo! All right, see, we can always figure it out. All right, so we're gonna spy on the send mail and function here, and it doesn't return anything, so we won't return anything. Okay, so next we can actually say const results is equal to await service dot send password reset email, and then we're going to pass in the user and the token. And then the first thing is we expect that result is going to be undefined. All right, let's run the test. And it passed, perfect. So now the more important part of things is that we expect helper.sendMail to have been called, and we expect helper.sendMail to have been called with and then this. And let's call it. No. All right, let's take a look. Function anonymous, function anonymous. All right, well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit lazy, so I think I'm gonna just delete this, be called with, and call it a day. But if you are not feeling lazy, maybe put a little more effort into figuring out why that failed. All right, I'm gonna end it here, and I will see you not in the next one, because this is actually our last video of this workshop. Yay!